Okay, we are back again for part two of Incompetence. And by the way, this has been a very long week because you underwent a massive transformation this week. We spent this whole week converting you to Judaism, which started at the end of last podcast, and we're still in the process of that, but you're doing great. You're really coming along.
He's clearly still in the middle of his nightmare. It's true. Usually when people have one of those, they wake up under the bed. But
We'd love to have you on our team. You could join us. Why not?
no, John, I was not cut out for your religion. Thank you. I am not religious. I believe in God. He doesn't exist under an umbrella for me. No offense to anyone who's religious. I applaud you and I support you. My philosophy is whatever works for you, as long as you're not hurting anyone, I support it with no judgments, just love and light.
Unlike me, who, according to you, judges the hell out of everything.
Jonathan is a really good friend of mine, and I really love him, but I have a short fuse for his judgments.
Tiny fuse, it's
a red button. And sometimes I might be somewhere with him, and someone walks by, and I could see his eyes. I could see that brain churning the judgment.
Judging.
And
I have an idea. The judging bell. Anytime you think I'm judging, you could feel free to ring it.
No, because the video will be 30 minutes of just ding, 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 ding. And no one will be able to hear.
All right. Okay. Very. Why don't you introduce what we're doing here? Because we just started a new show.
So tonight we are doing segment 2 of an interview that we have done previously. This is part 2 of How Can You Say That? Segment 24, and the topic is incompetence.
And we're back.
I suggested this topic because since I've come to New York, I've become a different person.
Oh, I'll say.
I have had to become a whole new me just to survive. Incompetence, aggression. It's like
anger.
Once you step outside of your house, it's like you're in a fight. In the traffic, they want to bite your head off. I mean, seriously, I am not here to judge New York.
You just did. That whole thing was judging.
I'm just sharing what I've experienced.
Well, we have a very common saying in New York. It's called "eat or be eaten." I told you that the other day.
Yes,
survival
fitting.
Of the fittest.
Very fitting.
Isn't that Darwin? Survival of the fittest. So it's in New York.
Jonathan, in the presence of the whole world or whomever is watching this, can I get a pledge from you not to interrupt me in the middle of very important points that I'm trying to make? Please, do you think you're capable of that? Maybe that's when I'll ring the bell. In between your rude.
So we were talking about parenting on the last episode and about incompetence in parenting, right? You want to touch on that a little bit? You're a parent. Okay, fine. I pledge. Fine. Let's shake on it.
No, I'm not shaking. I'm taking your word for it.
No. It has to be solidified with a handshake. No, a handshake.
This is a handshake.
That's not. No. That's like deal.
So
these fingers will cross.
Yeah, Jonathan brought up the parenting, and John, I'm going to let you make your point, but I just wanted to interject with one really minor detail that you keep missing. For a lot of people, the work you do, you make great money. But
you don't know what I mean.
You do. I know what you mean.
You don't know what I mean.
Of course I know what you mean.
No, you don't.
I have a good idea. But you don't understand. For the average person, for these families, the cost of living keeps going up, but their pay does not go up. They don't have any increases. I was speaking to someone today in the parking lot at work, walking to my car. And she was telling me she's looking for another job because she can't survive on what she's getting paid at her current job. But every job she's interviewed at, it's less than what she's making now.
And what's her qualifications?
She is a paralegal. That's a good job.
It's not bad.
So the sad thing is, everything is going up in the stores and the restaurants. Sometimes you go to dinner, you get a bill that has a surcharge. What is this for? Oh, they just throw it in there. If you argue with them, they take it off. And so
That was big during COVID, like a cleaning
but
fee.
apparently it's still
Yeah.
going on.
Well, of course, because once
But-
places start making things more expensive, they don't ever go backwards. They only go forward and more expensive.
But anyway, John, you can continue with your point, but that's something I don't think you are aware of.
Well, the reason you bring that up is because we finished the last episode talking about parent incompetence in parenting, and I was talking about screen time and the amount of time parents just dump their kids in front of a device to keep them busy. And I think with children, it's so important to actually spend time with them, quality time with them, not just being in the same room, interacting with them, communicating with them, understanding them, trying to teach them, trying to learn from them, watching their development. I mean, I was amazed. I think some of the most enjoyable years of my life were watching my children grow up from that age of 1 to that age of 3, where they start to learn, they start to talk, they start to walk, they start to communicate. To me, I was blown away by it. I didn't want to miss a minute of that. I couldn't wait to come home to spend that time with my children. And again, that had nothing to do with me making a good living, not making a living, being employed, not employed. It just had to do with the enjoyment factor of being a parent and being present as a parent, to not miss those formative years. And for people that do go to work and leave their children with babysitters, I understand there are people that can't afford to not do that, but they're just missing some of the most important parts of that child's life.
So what suggestions do you have for them, John? Because I get so tired of all these podcasts and TV shows and people talk. And we know all of these problems exist. But I want my show to be one that's geared toward less talk and more solutions. So you are right. You have identified a problem. And I think that because this is so, we have a lot more juvenile delinquents in our communities
Absolutely.
and our societies. So I'm asking you, you see the problem. What solutions do you have for these people to help them?
So it's a lot easier to see the problems and identify them than it is to come up with. I didn't say I don't have solutions. I'm just saying it's much easier to identify a problem than it is to rectify it and fix it.
Okay.
So the first part of repairing that problem is that when you are home, be present with your children. Just what I said. You shouldn't, as a parent, as a parent, your children come before you. At least, again, this is my philosophy. My time, my enjoyment, my things I may want to do are secondary. When you make a decision to bring a child into this world, that child has to be job number 1 and come before everything else. Because without that, you're literally stealing from your children. That's the way I look at it. So part of that solution is you come home from work. It doesn't matter if you come home at 3 in the afternoon, at 5 in the afternoon, at 6 in the afternoon. Change, eat dinner with your family as a family. It doesn't cost anything to do that. Everyone's eating dinner. So do it together. Talk, communicate during dinner. Have a set time for dinner so everybody knows this is the time we're doing it. And then when you're done with dinner, spend more time with your children. Go to their rooms, read them a story when they're little. Take them out, go on an errands with them. I always told my wife, part of what I view as keeping a healthy marriage is spending time together. If I'm going to CVS, I'll tell her, come with me. If she's going food shopping, she'll say, come with me. Spending that time together and interacting together is part of what keeps things healthy and alive. And the same thing with the children. It's actually more important with the children. So
John, you live in such a anyway.
But you wanted I'm giving you solutions. You cut me off.
Yeah.
I thought we made a deal.
Okay, good. Yes, I
Okay,
did cut
good.
you off.
Okay.
But I cut you off to say anyone listening to this is probably looking at you going, which world is he living in? Are you aware of what's going on in the world? Are you? You think that a family with both parents working can do all that you're describing?
Why? You have to come home and you have to eat.
Yes, but a lot of times one parent is working night, one parent is working
Okay,
day.
those are extenuating. That's not the norm.
I had to tell you, John, you live in
Okay, so I'll make one
bubble.
modification to that. If one parent is working in the evening, so the parent that's home, eat dinner with your freaking children at a table and communicate with them.
Who's gonna?
They don't have to both be there for that, but someone should be there for that.
And who's gonna wash the clothes? And who's gonna get their lunches ready for school? And who's gonna do all the things that you have?
And that's a good point. So let me answer that one also. No, You can involve your children.
The housekeeper to help them.
You could involve your children in those activities. When you're making a meal or you're making lunch for the next day, tell your kid, hey, help pick out the snacks. What kind of sandwich you want? Let's make the sandwich together. Go get me the bread. Interaction. That's
But are you assuming that this does not happen? Listen,
no. You asked me a question. Let me answer. When my kids were in school, all the way through elementary school, junior high school, even in high school, we used to pack them lunches. My wife would make the sandwiches or whatever, and I would pack the snacks. That would be my job. And I would always have interaction with my children. What do you want? You want chocolate bars? You want cookies? You want something healthy? You want something not healthy? There was involvement. Our whole lives are spent around our children and involving ourselves in their lives, not involving ourselves where we're not wanted, but involving ourselves where our kids know we're available, number one. And number two, being helpful to them when they need it and being present with them together. And I believe that's part of competency in parenting. And if you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, then maybe you should defer having children until you're ready or mature enough to be able to do that. Whoa, scared the shit out of me.
Judgment. These are great points.
Give me a question. I gave you an answer.
World, this is because I think back when I was a child, because I'm older than you, it was like that because it was a different world. Look at the world today. Really, John? Really?
Yeah.
A lot of the parents are doing their best. Parents, I know people that I've worked with in California who didn't get any sleep at all because they had to do two jobs just to keep the roof over their head. And they still had difficulty affording food and affording.
There's another part to that too.
Okay.
Living above your means at times. There are people that do that. What are you looking at me like I'm crazy?
Because you really are unaware of what's going on in the real world.
I'm not
John,
aware.
in your little bubble that you live in, and John, I really applaud your lifestyle. It's very kind of Amish, and I like it because
Amish people don't use electricity. They don't have cell phones.
But you don't on a Friday, from Friday night to Saturday night. You don't. So
that's a religious prohibition for me.
Yes, but I get it and I respect it. But
no, you don't. You think it's ridiculous.
Here he goes again, projecting. John, I don't think it's ridiculous. I admire it. I couldn't do it. I don't have that kind of discipline. And I wouldn't pick a religion that will tell me that God wants me to do that because I believe he loves me the way I am without turning off my phone. But
no, you just said this is really this. No. Okay, excuse me. Everything that I just told you about competency in parenting on that Friday night when my phone and all our devices and we can't use electricity, Friday night and all day on Saturday, the Sabbath, we have family time. That's exactly what we're doing, spending that time with our children.
Become Jewish and then we'll have all wonderful children.
It would be better, yeah, because you have 24 hours of nothing to do other than spend time with your family and your children.
Well, John, I hate to tell you, but
and it's a beautiful thing. I would never give it up.
And nobody wants you to. I respect and admire it, but the point I'm making is some people in this country can't even be Jewish because when the Saturdays right here locked down, they have 3 jobs just so they have money to feed their kids that week. Well,
God says that any money you earn on the Sabbath is going to be lost anyway. So there's really no point if you're Jewish of working on the Sabbath. It's going to be gone.
People to become Jewish and spend all Saturdays sitting around with their kids. And then come Monday, they have no food to give them.
Well, we only have 15 million Jews in the world out of 9 billion people. So we could use some more. But I'm not running a recruiting drive here.
Based on my friendship with you, I have a pretty good idea of why you always have money.
Okay, that's some sort of backhanded insult.
Jay.
Here we go, the shoes again. You already talked about that on a prior podcast. We're not talking about the shoes again. You're talking about the hole in the shirt yesterday? You're going to talk about that one too? Go ahead. Go ahead. Get it out of your way. Get it out of your system.
It comes to mind when you... Anyway, I am not judging John. I wish I had his discipline. Trust me, I wish. I just don't have that kind of discipline, you know?
Back to incompetence.
And I have children that don't live in New York, so I cannot turn off my phone for 24 hours. And I know God still loves me.
That's what you think. Here's another a job where incompetence could be very hurtful. Accounting, doing your taxes, things like that. I had this year, unfortunately, my accountant made a mistake. We were talking about, I had asked him if I have any carry forward tax losses that I could utilize against taxable gains. He told me yes. He gave me a number. I said, great. I factored that into the equation. All of a sudden, I came to do my taxes, and he's like, yeah, you owe $10,000. I'm sorry, why do I owe $10,000? I worked this out exactly based on the numbers you gave me. He goes, oh, I made a mistake. I read the number wrong. You didn't have any carry forward losses. Cost me 10 grand. Now, again, what are you going to do? It's a long-term relationship with the accountant, but that was an act of incompetency. Was it malicious? No. Was it intentional? No. But it was incompetent. And this is a guy who's been an accountant for 35, 40 years. Like, he's not new, and he's not even old where he like makes mistakes like that. He's actually really good. But there are things where the incompetence, whether if it's financial, it could be really financially hurtful. If it's malpractice like, it could be life-threatening. So then there are other things of incompetence where people just do dopey things wrong. And it's like, okay, no harm, no foul. It wasn't a big deal. Didn't really impact my life. Here's one of the ones that really bother me. You call Verizon, cell phone company, and you get all of a sudden, you get the person that you know is not from the United States. You know you're calling some call center in Mumbai where they barely even speak proper English. They annoy the hell out of you. And it's like, anything you're trying to do with them is just going to go wrong. I know when I make that call to Verizon Wireless or Verizon, when I get an American on the phone, I am so happy that this is somebody I can relate to that's probably going to do this properly instead of somebody just screwing the whole thing up.
No, I say, can I speak to an American, please?
Well, but it's the same reason why. You don't feel that the foreigners are going to actually do the job right.
Really, really nice, but they operate within a certain box. And if you are bringing a situation to them that does not exist in that box, they don't know how to help you.
Do you also realize how many times they say your name? Yes. It's over and over, like they're reading off a script. Okay, Miss Gleave, I will help you. Okay, I understand, Miss Gleave. Miss Gleave, do you? It's like it makes me crazy. I want to get through the phone right into Bombay and choke them until they can't even function anymore. When I get that Southern female accent on the phone, where it's some blonde, beautiful woman from Tennessee or South Carolina, I just all of a sudden I start off with this warmth versus getting the guy from Mumbai or Bombay where I'm starting off angry. Like I'm already combative. As soon as I hear the first word, like I'm already losing my shit. So what?
Nothing.
Did I say something wrong?
No, keep going.
I'm just saying part of competency is also, and it doesn't mean the foreigner is going to screw it up. But you just have that perception of incompetence. Sometimes sometimes a language barrier, actually, which causes that feeling of incompetence. Doesn't mean the person is incompetent just because they don't speak the same way as you or have the same dialect or the same language. They might be very competent, but it feels like incompetence when they start talking.
One of the most disturbing stories of incompetence that I can recall, because I've had so many. But this was a last minute decision to do this topic. So I didn't get to prepare for it better than I am. So during COVID, you know how you had to get a vaccine to travel? Like you had to show that you had a COVID test and that the COVID test showed that you didn't have COVID. And you had to have the test, I think, within 24 hours of your travel time.
Right.
And I know someone who was traveling, and I went with the person. We were both traveling, to be honest. And we went and we told them, look, we're traveling tomorrow at this time. We're leaving the country. We need to get these test results so that we can get on the plane tomorrow morning. If we don't, we are going to lose the money we spent on our tickets. Oh, no, it's going to be ready. It's going to be ready. I swear to you, we were like at midnight, decided we couldn't go because we had no results. Yeah. So we were trying to figure out if we could go to JFK and get these tests done there. So we could have results to travel because we didn't want to lose our tickets and we had to be in the country that we were going to. because I was going there
Which country?
we were going to Guyana. I was going there to interview, so hopefully some people at Exxon, because Exxon just signed an oil deal with Guyana.
Rip off Guyana and steal from them and plunder their resources?
Up until 4 a.m., no results. No results. I couldn't sleep. I kept waking up and checking. And my friend that I was traveling with had decided there's no way we were going because we didn't get the results. And we had to be at the airport at 6. 5 a.m. I looked and the results were finally there.
Negative or positive?
No, we didn't have COVID. Of course we didn't have COVID. And I called her up and I'm like, don't even shower, just get to the airport. We finally got the results. And I thought to myself,
oh, that was an example of incompetence.
this is just of the highest type, because we gave them our flight information. To me, a competent lab would have said, look, we've tested all these people today. These people are traveling. Put their paperwork, because we went early in the morning. It's not like we went in the evening and was pushing our luck. We got up and we made that the priority that morning to get that test result. And so to me, you saw a lot of this during COVID when you had to travel.
Right.
And you couldn't travel without evidence that you didn't have COVID.
That's true. It is another.
It was very stressful. I can remember feeling like I have an ulcer because I had been promised this interview and I didn't know if I would ever get the chance to do it again. And so I didn't.
So did you do the interview?
No. No, it's not that I didn't get the interview. When we got to Guyana, there were some other issues with the camera and stuff like that. So it ended up.
Oh, due to incompetence? Person operating the camera?
Great incompetence story. American Airlines, and I will never fly with them again. I had not gone to Guyana in 24 years. In 24 years.
Do you have any family that lives there?
I have a sister and a brother there, and lots of nieces. And
oh, you do have family?
Yeah, I have a lot.
I have family there too.
I'm sure you do.
What?
Do they know you?
They're royalty, actually, in Guyana. It's my family.
Oh, okay.
I come from royalty. You didn't know that?
Yeah, you look very royal.
Loyal or royal?
Loyal and
you just threw up in your own mouth.
Loyal and you in the same.
All right, listen. I want to stay on topic. In terms of incompetence, there's another very egregious area of incompetency.
By the way, what's the
Contractors.
difference between
Contractors.
What's the difference between gaslighting and incompetency?
They're totally different meanings. What do you mean? Gaslighting is trying to convince someone of something that's different than reality.
Yes,
and incompetence.
Somebody
No, that's not. No.
To gaslight you so that you
No.
don't see that.
Only if they go on the defensive about being accused, they might try to gaslight you. But they're two different terms that mean two completely different things.
Yes, that is true. But what I'm trying to say, there's a correlation because someone who's incompetent
could result in
is
gaslighting.
aware of their incompetence in order not to admit that, listen, I'm just a lazy ass or can't do my job. Will try to gaslight you so that you don't see them for who they are.
To cover up for the incompetence.
Exactly.
Correct. Contractors. I don't even think, there are so many dishonest contractors out there.
Right? Movers.
Well, did you just interrupt me?
I'm
Did we have a deal? Did we make a deal? That's not adding because I was talking about contractors, not movers. Movers have nothing with contractors. Under contractors, I was going to say,
feel good. Does it, Jonathan? It doesn't.
It feels horrible, and that's why we made a deal. And you broke the deal.
Made a deal.
We shook on it. It's on camera. What are you talking about? You're gonna say you didn't make it? There was a handshake. We went like this. Give me your hand.
Leave me alone. Tell your point.
Under contractors, we're going to include plumbers. You interrupted me again.
Make your point.
I'm trying. Maybe you can stop cutting me off.
I want to give you a taste of your own syrup.
Under contractors, it's medicine. Under contractor, it's medicine. No, that's a taste of your own medicine is the expression.
I don't have to use other people's.
Bye. Take care. Let's make a good point. Okay, under contractors, we're gonna. Fine, you can come back. We'll give you one more chance.
He does not like.
That's too close.
What is wrong with you? Don't.
Well, you call me the man boy. The man boy isn't supposed to grow up. We're under contracts. We're going to talk about contractors include plumbers, electricians, and specialty trades. Do you think about this? A contractor you hire a contractor to build this whole beautiful house for you, right? And they do all the work. And because of one little plumbing mistake, like a guy doesn't solder a copper pipe properly, causes a leak. And because of that leak, walls have to start coming down, insulation has to start coming down, mold remediation people, floors get warped, like disaster over one little thing. There's so many moving parts to doing a job properly when you're a contractor building a structure, that any little deviation off that can throw out of whack everything. So the point that I'm bringing up is that when you're dealing with something that could be so impactful in your life, people need to vet their contractors a little bit better, get references from people, understand who the subcontractors are, find out if they're licensed, find out if they're insured, because one little mistake like that could just be an absolute catastrophe and throw everything into the garbage. You ever have a bad contracting experience? Can I give you an example? We were doing some work in a house one time, and instead of using, we were young, we just bought the house, we didn't really have much money. So instead of using a contractor, we used like this handyman guy. And at that time, I worked very close to the house. So I was able to just pop in at any time. I would work 6-7 minutes away. So I'd come home 3-4 times during the day just to check on what was going on. And all of a sudden, I see he was doing my kitchen ceiling. I see him start putting sheetrock up and stuff. And I come in, I'm like, whoa, where's the insulation? He goes, what do you mean? I go, you have to insulate the ceiling. What's going to happen in winter? I go, just because something looks pretty from the outside, what's behind there is equally as important. He goes, oh, I forgot the insulation. Had to take down all the sheetrock and start insulating the entire ceiling again. Took him like 3 extra days. Contractors that'll put in windows and not put in proper headings. All of a sudden, 5 years later, the roof starts to sag. There's so people that don't shingle the roofers, that don't do the roof properly.
But picking the cheapest people on the planet.
That's not always true, because a lot of times a good contractor could have horrible subcontractors that work for him because the contractor is cheap and he's trying to maximize what he makes on the job by hiring less competent subcontractors. So if you don't stay on top of these things and you don't watch closely, it could end up being very costly.
So we're down to 3 minutes, and I know that everybody that is watching this video has experienced incompetence on some level, because there seems to be so much of it. And listen, humans are not perfect. And I get, because we lack perfection, that we are all going to make mistakes at some point. And this is usually the cause of the incompetence. But for some people, they're habitually incompetent. And you can make a mistake because we are fallible, but we have to be careful, especially when we work in places where if we make mistakes consistently, it can cause a lot of grievous experiences for the people that we serve. And so the point of this video was to bring awareness to why we should, if we take on something, do it to the best of our abilities, if you don't already do that.
And if you make a mistake, own it and take responsibility for it and try to fix it and rectify it.
Because little mistakes that you make, you can say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but sorry doesn't fix anything.
You also have to realize, I know we're running out of time, you also have to realize that on the other side of your incompetence is another human being whose life can be, I know I was helping you make the point to make it a little clearer, whose life can be badly impacted by your incompetence. And I was telling you this the other day in my regular job. What I always wanted to do was anytime I was dealing with a client, I wanted to have pictures of the clients and hang them all on the wall so that before I call the client, I look at their face and I see they're a person and I see their spouse and I see their children, so that I always remember and keep in mind that my actions have consequences, and to always try to do the right thing and do it properly.
Well,
to the best of your ability.
Big enough walls to put everybody's faces. You can't be competent or kind without a face.
What's closing a show without a slap in the face, as usual? Why don't you give me a hand for a second? No, give me a hand. Give me a hand. Why don't you just do it? Yeah, look.
Oh, please, Jonathan. Because I don't need a picture. Everyone's face is in my head.
Oh,
If
you're
I
so
see
special.
them, and I don't need their face. I'm just generally kind all the time. And lately, even if you try,
Boasting Bell.
even if you try to derail me and upset me, I will just kill you with more kindness because I'm growing up.
You don't seem to be killing me with
I'm
kindness.
so happy that
Can you try killing me with kindness instead of
the
being
girl
nasty to me?
I used to be. And thank you so much for watching Jon and I monkey around because that's what this show has been. Jon being his mad boy self. And we will be back with the next segment soon.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you for listening. And thank you for watching.
The show where a man gets to come and behave like a stupid boy. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.